You've been lied to about how to get good grades. You're pulling all-nighters, you're running on caffeine, and the stress is absolutely destroying you. And for what? For a grade that's just okay? You're giving up your sleep, your friends, and your sanity for results that are completely mediocre. This is what almost every student goes through, and it's because you're all using a broken strategy, that if you just work harder, you'll get better grades. But what if I told you the secret to getting the best grades of your life wasn't about more effort, but less? What if you could get insane results with literally half the wasted energy? This is the exact strategy a mastermind uses. Today, we're breaking down Kiyotaka Ayanokoji's philosophy to reveal the 50% rule, a system that proves efficiency is the biggest weapon you have for school. Forget hard work. We're not here to work hard. We're here to win. First, you have to get this mindset. Ayanokoji doesn't win because he's some kind of super genius. He wins because he sees the whole system. While everyone else is busy trying to memorize every word in the textbook, he's studying the rules of the game itself. He's not just playing the game, he's a master strategist who gets the perfect score he needs with the least amount of energy possible. And that brings us to this insane idea, the 50% rule. This doesn't mean you do half the work for a failing grade. It means you get the grade you want by using only 50% of the insane brute force effort you think you need. It's about eliminating every wasted second, every wasted thought, and all that wasted energy. We are declaring war on inefficiency. We're replacing mindless studying with cold, calculated, strategic moves. This entire system is built on 5 pillars. If you master these, you will turn your grades from a random guessing game into a guaranteed win. The first and most important pillar is you have to become the master of your own brain. Most students don't fail because they're not smart enough. They fail because they let feelings like stress, fear, and anxiety take over. That desperation for motivation is clouding your judgment and killing your focus. Ayanokoji operates on pure emotional neutrality. He doesn't act based on how he feels. You don't have to become a robot. You just have to use a simple trick called affect labeling. The next time you feel that crushing anxiety, just stop and label the emotion. This is stress. This is fear. The second you name the emotion instead of being controlled by it, its power disappears. Your brain literally calms down, and you can actually think and remember things again. Your feelings are just noise. They don't get to drive. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Motivation is unreliable. A system is forever. When it's time to study, you sit down and you do it, whether you feel like it or not.
Create a ritual. Same time, same place, same first step, every single day. Your brain will scream at you at first, but with cold, hard consistency, it will give up and start working for you. This is how you take back control. Emotions are a weakness. A system is a weapon. This second pillar is a straight-up cheat code for studying. You have to be ruthless with what you focus on. You don't get extra points for studying for more hours. You only get rewarded for results. The Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, is simple. In anything, 80% of the results come from just 20% of the work. For your classes, this means 80% of your entire exam grade will come from only 20% of the material. Your mission is to find that critical 20%. Stop trying to memorize every single page of the textbook. That is the slowest, most useless strategy in the world. Instead, become a detective. Go find past exams. What topics appear over and over again? Pay attention in your lectures. What ideas get your professors super excited? What questions do they keep asking? These are your high-value targets. Before you even think about starting to study, you need a list of these targets, ranked by importance. Most students just go from Chapter 1 to Chapter 2. That's amateur hour. The Ayanokoji method says you study the most important things first. You will spend 80% of your energy completely mastering that critical 20% of the content. And the other 80% of the book, it gets 20% of your attention. This isn't ignoring it. It's about putting your limited energy where it will have the biggest possible impact. Anything else is a waste, and waste is the enemy. Pillar number 3 is where you go from being a player in the game to an observer of the entire system. Amateurs study the subject. Masters study the system. Ayanokoji is so powerful because he sees all the patterns before anyone else. He studies the people, the rules, and the tests with the same insane focus that everyone else gives to their textbooks. This is a skill called metacognition, thinking about how you think. So, before you even try to learn the material, you need to master the context of your test. Analyze its format. Is it multiple choice? Is it essays? Is it problem solving? Each of those requires a completely different way to prepare. Studying for a multiple choice exam by writing a bunch of essays is like training for a boxing match by running a marathon. You're putting in effort, but your strategy is completely wrong. Next, you analyze the source, your teacher. What do they care about? Do they like big ideas or tiny random details? What are their favorite topics? Watch their patterns and you'll be able to predict exactly what they value and give them the answers they're looking for. Finally, you have to analyze yourself.
Do a brutal audit of your own brain and be honest about what you suck at. Most people avoid their weaknesses. The Ayanokoji method demands you run straight at them. In fact, you should spend most of your study time on the things you find the hardest. If you attack the hardest problems when your mind is fresh, you get a double victory. You actually learn, and you kill all that anxiety from procrastinating. Pillar 4 is how we actually execute. Once the plan is set, you need the fastest, most powerful tactics to literally download information into your brain and make it permanent. Passive learning, like rereading your notes, highlighting, and watching lectures, is the slowest and worst way to study. We're throwing it in the trash and replacing it with these 3 insane science-backed techniques. First is active recall. This is the simple act of pulling information out of your memory. Don't just reread the chapter, close the book, and try to summarize everything from memory. Don't just look at the answer on a flashcard. Force yourself to say it out loud before you check. That feeling of struggling isn't you failing. It's the sound of your brain building a stronger memory. Studies show this one trick can massively boost how much you remember. The second is spaced repetition. Your brain learns something best right when it's about to forget it. Instead of cramming for 10 hours straight, you're going to review information in bigger and bigger gaps, like after 1 day, then 3 days, then a week. This forces your brain to work a little harder each time, which builds insane neural pathways and locks that info into your long-term memory. The third is interleaving. Don't study one subject for hours. Instead, switch between different subjects. Do 30 minutes of math, then 30 minutes of history, then 30 minutes of physics. This forces your brain to get faster and build stronger, separate connections for each topic, instead of getting stuck in a lazy rut. These aren't just tips. These are the literal mechanics of fast and efficient learning. The final pillar is protecting your focus like it's $1 million, because it is. Your brain cannot multitask. Every notification, every text message, every quick look at social media completely shatters your concentration and destroys your mental performance. Ayanokoji knows that silence is a weapon. He's not isolated because he hates people. He's isolated because he creates a white room where the only thing that matters is winning the task in front of him. You are going to do 2 things. First is strategic isolation. When it's time to study, you build a fortress. Your phone goes into another room. All other tabs are closed. No music with lyrics.
I am telling you, 30 minutes of pure, uninterrupted focus is more valuable than 3 hours of distracted, worthless studying. The second is the 90-minute focus cycle. Your brain has a natural rhythm where it can have peak focus for about 90 minutes. So instead of giving up the second you feel tired, you commit to a 90-minute block of insane deep work. After that 90-minute cycle is over, you take a real 20-30-minute break. Rest isn't for the weak. It's a strategic part of the system that lets your brain recover so you can do another 90-minute sprint. Stop pretending that more hours is the answer. The goal isn't to study longer, it's to study with more intensity. Execute and focus sprints, then recover. That is the secret rhythm of winning. I just gave you the entire blueprint. The choice is yours. You can keep going down the same path of stress and burnout, or you can start thinking like a strategist. You can work harder, or you can work smarter. Your grades right now speak for themselves. If you want a different result, you have to try a different strategy. Start with just one pillar. Just one. This is Peak Razor. Let's build productivity systems that win daily.